One of the toughest challenges that I've found as a visual storyteller is staying creative at staying creative. What I mean by that is not necessarily burning out on our craft, but coming up with different ways to maybe film subjects so that they stay interesting for someone viewing your content. I think it's pretty easy for us to get in a filmmaking rut, or us going out and we're so comfortable with how we're filming that our end products end up looking like carbon copies of each other. It doesn't matter whether it's a wedding or whether you're filming your kids at the beach. The cuts look the same, the edits look the same, even down to the soundtracks that we're choosing, they could all be similar too. So it all kind of presents a similar vibe no matter what we're filming. So for today, what I plan on doing is limiting myself in terms of equipment that I'm using for what I'm shooting today. And what I'm shooting today is not anything drastic. It's not anything crazy. I'm just filming my kids outside playing in a playground that I just put up yesterday. Look guys, there's a lot of gear that always comes out. There's always a new light. There's always a new lens. There's always a new camera, which is all great. And we all need to stay proficient on what the state-of-the-art technology is in our fields. However, I do feel at times, and not all the time, but just maybe every once in a while, it's a good idea to kind of restrict ourselves from some of these kind of bigger things, bigger lights, bigger lenses, bigger cameras with crazy codecs, higher resolutions, and try going with something that's so simple that it just gets our creative juices flowing in order to create a more interesting end product. So today I've decided to shoot on one focal length, and this focal length is coincidentally not the most interesting focal length, 14 millimeters, 28 on micro four thirds. I also issued another challenge to myself for this particular project that I'm working on with the kids out in the front yard, and that is I can only use natural light, and at least 90% of the overall end project has to be locked off on a tripod. So once again, the three major criteria for what I'm filming today is one focal length, at least about 90% of the shots locked off on a tripod, and I cannot use any other light but the light that's already on location. And this is what I came up with. Oddly enough, I find that when I'm out filming small things that I'm not necessarily getting paid for is when I learn the most. I have full creative control, and I've implemented some sort of a difficult challenge to overcome for myself. And so my favorite thing about working like this is that I'm not on a time scale. There's no right or wrong answer. Obviously, I do care about viewership and what you guys think about the projects that I work on. So, I mean, don't hesitate to leave a comment below if you think it sucks. But essentially, what I learned today from filming for the hour that I was out there was I really had to make sure that my shots were interesting enough. I had to make sure that the angles were interesting enough. And as well, I also had to shoot shots that I knew were going to be connected together harmoniously in post. Like for example, how I connected these two shots together on the seesaw. I also have the shot where my daughter was like about to come down the slide from like a medium, and then it zooms into like the POV shot of me holding her hand, right? So that kind of connects together. And then obviously we have the kids sliding the stuffed animals down the slide, and then immediately cutting to the stuffed animal just kind of chilling on the grass. There were a few other cuts too that I took advantage of when it came to like the kids actually swinging and how I used that as more or less a transition. And all of these things I don't think I really would have thought about doing if I was using like a gimbal or a bigger camera or different lenses. Anyways guys, if creative content like this interests you, check out some of the other videos on this channel. The last video we talked about the Lumix 12-35 and the Olympus 12-40, which oddly enough, both of these lenses produce the same image quality. But when it comes to video, I do have some pointers or some recommendations that I have when it comes to both of those lenses. So be sure to check that out right here. Other than that, I have nothing else for you guys for this video, man. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll see y'all hopefully in one of my next ones. Peace.